being the Babylonian empires, right?
Right.
And then it say, what was the end of it? A single stone would be hewn from the mountain without the hands of a man and will roll down the hill and strike the feet of iron and clay. Remember that?
I sure do.
And that brings the whole unholy Roman Empire down. So the iron and clay is the symbolic of America, the great melding pot. You can't meld iron with clay. But what it's talking about is the royal bloodlines mixed with the peasantry. So when we're talking about the stone the builders rejected, besides the biblical reference, where else do you find that stone being hewn from a mountain? That's the story of the Monkey King, Sun Wukong. In India, the Buddha called Sun Wukong Hanuman, which means a handy man, a man that's handy to have around, know a little bit about everything, which brings us to the riddle, a jack of all trades, master of none, is still better than a master of one. So it's saying that the handyman know a little bit of something about a little bit of everything. And then he's going to put it all together so you can see the big picture. So this is what the blue stone is. It's the blue house, the blue lodge. It's the one being trained. And this would bring an end to all of those other nefarious ventures that the lesser beings was using to try to conquer the so-called gods.
Right.
Right. So they put all of these councils and committees together so that they can use multiple individuals' brain power to usurp us. The problem is that ain't gonna work.
Oh, wow. So another question that one of the other sisters had is the knowledge of non-ether is very complicated. Could you give it to them in a more simplistic way? Like what non-ether is, how it works, and how it personified itself as flesh and blood beings in the form of our race, dark-skinned, woolly-haired people?
Okay, so when we talk about the non-ether being, look at it like the body. The earth is a living organism, and the non-ether beings is the antibodies. The energy that produces the non-ether being is pure source energy. If it produced more than one of them, it produced what we call the gods, plural. If only one is produced, it's a god, right? So the non-ether beings are the ones who nature used as antibodies to clean up the mishaps of developing humanity. So when we say non-ether, you're talking about the highest spiritual expression, and it comes across as the salt of the earth in the music and the art and varying forms of entertainment. The non-ether is expressed as a right brain, abstract, non-linear reasoning that surpasses logic. The inorganic beings and the hybrids that's here operate off left brain linear logic, and is subjugated to the right brain when they synced.
So isn't that like saying that non-ether is more of the feminine principle than the masculine if it's more right brain? Because right brain.
So if you want to read about it without using the term non-ether, you would go to India and read about something called Shakti energy.
Okay, I'm familiar with that by studying Hinduism.
Right. So the Shakti energy is the same as the non-ether energy. If you were Egyptologist, you would read about it as Sekhmet energy.
Okay, Sekhmet means power, and it's the feminine of Sekhem.
And the man who is privy to carry the Sekhmet energy is normally going to be volatile if he don't have his self-control developed, what we call he haven't become a master yet. He haven't mastered his lower nature.
Okay, so expound on that a little bit. Like, because what you just said was that the man who carries the Sekhmet, which is the feminine energy, but don't really carry the, or I should say he's not really in tune with the Sekhem, the masculine energy. You said he'll self-destruct.
Right. He becomes tyrannical by nature. It's just natural for him to do it. It's just like giving a baby a nuclear um, briefcase wide open and don't never tell him he's gonna end the world if he push the button. And you know what the baby gonna do? Slap all the buttons.
He sure is.
So that's all he gonna. That's all it is. When you feel that power, if he haven't conquered his ego, his lower nature, then he becomes subjective to tyrannical use of that higher energy because one, it's going to drive him to destroy because the system is out of order. But if he haven't conquered his lower nature, he will never know what part of the system to fix. So he just tear everything up.
Oh yeah, he out of order. He definitely out of order.
So we call them, when you look in the human arena in history, we call them despots. We call them tyrannical leaders, psychopathic leaders, rogue kings, stuff like that is in the history when they get that energy and haven't conquered that lower nature.
And
so
what is
we still talking nine ether, we just using it in different schools of thought. In Egypt, Sekhmet, and India is Shakti, right? And the Shakti is activated by the Kriya, which is the fire of the root chakra, right? And it carries all the way up to the crown. Okay, so they say in the Kabbalah is from Malkuth to Kephra. In the Kabbalah, the same energy is called the Ein Sof.
Right. I know about that. I studied the Kabbalah extensively.
Right.
And
so it's the same energy.
Okay, so let's go here with it. In the Holy Tablets, the Master Teacher taught us that non-ether was conscious awareness and conscious moral judgment gases. Can you explain the difference in how that's actually perceived? Yeah.
So as you purify your ego to receive your higher consciousness, right? You got to remember, pure chaos is melanin. Melanin is sentient on its own. It don't need nobody to be sentient. But being utilized along with the other systems of the body, then the non-ether has to be the one who contain the chaos and bring the balance. The balance is where you find the righteous.
Okay.
Right? The righteousness is a side effect of purifying the lower ego and receiving that higher Shakti non-ether energy.
So basically, are you saying that non-ether would be a higher form of intelligence that allows us to be able to discipline ourselves in the spiritual realm and the physical realm to be able to be in harmony with both sides?
Well, I would more look at it like once you gain the discipline, you gain access to use non-ether energy in real time. Lacking the discipline and the self-control, then you just a Sakomao monkey band, bouncing around, never knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the discipline gives you access to the non-ether. Now you finna make a connection with source energy. When you make this connection, you have to already have the self-discipline to activate what's already in you. So now the side effect of that is once you can reason to the level to activate the non-ether, now the melanin chaos comes in because you won't be able to balance the chaos if you don't have the discipline to receive the non-ether. And the chaos is melanin. When it come in, it's going to automatically send you on an immediate downward spiral to your lowest base nature to return and rise back up as the phoenix.
Why is that?
Because it's chaos. When it first hit, it's like a bomb. And when it hit internally, you don't know what's going on immediately, but your higher self is using the discipline you develop to reorganize what the chaos is doing. Because you're using the source, you're using the prime creator to balance out total insanity.
So melanin, why is melanin based in chaos? Can you give us the science of that?
It's not based in chaos. It's the prime creative substances in which the order came from. When we talking about melanin, we talking about in Egyptology, it's the primordial noon. Right? It's the waters of creation and the waters are running amok until you can harness them water's energy. Water
Right.
symbolic of spirit.
Right, because I remember when Pops was teaching us about noon and basically undifferentiated matter, he was explaining how this is a state of nothingness, basically a state of existence before things actually combined and aggregated and came together to form what we see now today in the physical realm.
Yep. So it's like if you pour a soda pop in the glass, it's going to fizz. It's not fizzing because it couldn't fizz in the bottle. It's only
Right.
fizzing because you just poured it into a cup and disturbed it.
Right.
This is what the melanin is doing. So now, as you learn to control pouring the soda in the cup in order to reduce the amount of fizz so that you don't overflow the cup, this is how you, your higher self is organizing the chaos energy, and it uses your self-discipline to do it.
Now, when you look in like Google or different scientific books of ancient Greek mythology, they attempted to teach us that chaos was a Greek god that represented the universe when it wasn't unformed. Or, excuse me, when it was unformed, when it was undifferentiated matter. How would you go about explaining that to the grassroots?
So the Greek sciences comes from the Egyptian knowledge. The metaphors that they're using in the Greek is actually a science. So when they're talking about chaos, they literally talking about the primordial noon. So imagine all good and bad things existing in a state of non-existence, bumping into each other, and there's no form of expression, and it's just random and erratic.
Right.
In order to have creation, you have to bring that under control of order. And this is why they say out of darkness comes the light. Light is created. If you remember in the Holy Tabs, Pops talks about the dot forming a line.
That's in chapter 1, tablet 1.
Yep.
And the line formed the wall formed the square, and so on and so forth.
He's telling you how light is created from the primordial noon in order for it to manifest visible spectrum so you can see it.
So was that this is for the people, was that a literal line, a literal wall, or what does it represent metaphorically?
Metaphorically, there's no terms in the languages that we know on the earth to explain it. And the closest thing that he can give you to explain it is the dot forming the line. Because you can use the 2D written expression to relay a 19-dimensional framework in a simplified form, but it's going to take years for the mind to unlock it.
Okay, and that's now that you say that, another question that came up in the conversation with a couple of the sisters that's in our class. You mentioned the 5D. So let's say 3D, 4D, 5D. I want you to kind of sort of in simplistic terms explain what is a dimension, and then from there, what is a third dimension, fourth dimension, and fifth dimension?
Okay, so now what we're looking at when we're talking about the dimensions is levels of frequency and how the frequency is expressed so that the mind can perceive what the frequency is telling it. So when we talk two-dimensional, we talk about that thing which is written on a flat surface. That's the 2D. When we talk three-dimensionally, we're talking about a fixed position reality that have three forms of existence: solid, liquid, and gas. When we get to the fourth dimension, this is the plane of force. This is the field of mind. And by the way, that's the dream realm, the fourth dimension.
That's in the tablets 2, chapter 7, the living soul. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, oh man, you're right on it. So the dream realm is where we create the lower realms, 3D, 2D, like that. The dimensions is described in 3D as like different light rays. Like the light take on the spectrum and we can only see a small portion of it.
Right.
So the portion that's above our perception would be higher dimension, and those which is lower from lower perception is what we would call lower dimensions. The 3D is where all of the upper dimensions is expressed in the physical realm. This is the best way to describe 3D is 3D fixed position reality, having a God particle as a stabilizing link. So when they discovered the Higgs boson in 2012, that was discovering the wall that the line created. Because it's all condensed light rays. Everything that we think we see as a physical object on a molecular level is nothing that we think it is.
Right. That's why they say the physical world is an illusion.
Yeah. So when you study epigenetics, you realize that wherever we are in truth, we not really here. We projected here in consciousness. So the easiest way to explain our collective unconscious, where we all linked, is like a big bag of water, and you dropped it on a pin cushion. Every little stream of water that comes out of that is one of us, but the source bag is Prime Creator.
Got you. So go ahead.
We call it a mastermind, like Napoleon Hill Mastermind Group, and the Law of Success explains it perfect, where it can be used. So the whole world of thinking people forms a egregore, which is a thought form. The egregore then takes on its own life separate from those who created it. The whole trick of the secret society is learning to take control of the egregore of humanity, which goes back to the 100 monkey effect. By the fees and fines and taxes and levies and liens, and by the time they get done, the system that sucked all their money out and they don't got nothing to show for it. Now they foreclosing on their properties.
Right.
These were all fraudulent contracts that was ordered to be given to us through the judiciary by means of the Bar Association. That's why when these judges take these titles of nobility, they being knighted. When they knighted as an agent of the crown, then they given a title of nobility to acknowledge their receipt of that title, right? They can't pass the title on to their children because being knighted is called letters patent. Is the standing in their lifetime, they will reap the benefit of the gentry as an honorable, as an esquire, as long as they do the work for the crown. The crown's instructions is in the charter for the first bar. That's called a foundational document. The entirety of the Bar Association is built on King George's proclamation of the Bar Association to issue those titles of nobility for the people that work for the British Crown. Under the barristers over there and over here, they needed a barrister accreditation registry, and it became known as the Bar Association. Once you know what their purpose is, then you can unravel, well, who do they work with? They work with the bankers, because they moving such massive amounts of currency that the currency have to be under the security of the judiciary's oversight. So like every court is a ship. And every time you on the ship talking to the judge, you talking to the captain of the ship. And the clerk is the navigator. Because you under Admiralty and Maritime jurisdiction. Before early colonial law, the chiefs used to be able to go in and remove their tribesmen from out of the custody of the corporation because it was a conflict of jurisdiction between the tribal jurisdiction of the land law and the Admiralty jurisdiction of the maritime law.
You're
right?
getting this feedback, are you? Okay, because I hear us, but it's also playing in the background. I just wanted to make sure you okay. I
don't know what that is, man. That's probably them eavesdropping.
That's exactly what I was saying. Unc, it's a pleasure, and I greatly appreciate you and all you do.
You're welcome, sweetie. I'm glad I was able to have a conversation with you.
I love you, and that is from the bottom of my feet. Oh, I love you. I love you. Yes. Every time I know you're going to be on, I haven't even been online watching your videos because it's like something's resisting me. And I just got this message that you were live, and I jumped on and I said, I want to talk to you one day. And I also had sent you a message in January of 23. I was asking for some advice about a situation. I heard you. I heard you. And I realized I didn't really have to speak with you, but I heard you. I got the message. Everything worked out well for me. I'll put it that way.
I'm glad to hear
And
that,
my
sweetie.
family.
I'm always there. If I can say something that'll encourage, motivate, or inform somebody how to accomplish a goal, I did my service to the people. If I can help
Yeah.
one, and I could have helped more, but most of them thought I was crazy until they started seeing what I was telling them. And the
Mm-hmm.
ones that was saying I ain't had no receipts because they was too lazy to go cross-reference the receipt.
Mm-hmm.
So they just assume I don't have no references to what I be telling them, but everything that I'm telling them, I got references to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taking you back to who said it, who did it, where they come from, why they came, how many of them came, you know what I'm saying, the lie they
Yep.
told us, and all that. I know it all.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't my agenda to be on here telling the people how we got tricked, but it was the path of least resistance to use social media. Notice the agent, notice the principal. That's to you eavesdropping motherfuckers that's tapping in down there in Raven Rock, sitting there watching, looking on the big old screen like we don't know you watching. I ain't
Mm-hmm.
doing nothing wrong. I'm just telling the people the truth, and you just got to deal with it.
That's right. And free Larry Hoover and made the three kings walk the land. Free everyone under COINTELPRO and made a matriarch be restored. Yes.
And the
Yes.
one and the one law, the great law, and the
The
one
great law. That's
condition,
right.
restore the matriarchy. That's one
That's
law,
right.
one condition,
One law.
restore the
One condition.
matriarchy. By giving the earth back to the rightful heirs, heaven returns to earth with the divine feminine. And then all of the women be so much more pleasant to be
Yeah.
around.
Ain't that the truth?
Because
Just
they ain't
peace and love.
got to
This
be,
sport stuff is getting old.
yeah, they don't
Yeah.
have to be in war mode no more. But this is why we need those sister groups. So y'all check, all y'all sisters that ain't ever heard me talk about the goddess glow up, go look and investigate. She got video on Instagram and Facebook. Heidi Barble from the goddess glow up do women support groups that help the women be able to deal with each other and heal from the old wounds. She's really good at what she do, and she actually live the lessons that she teach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she tell you how to do what she doing, what worked for her, and then try to help you adjust it to fit your model, right?
Right. Right. Right.
So that was in the old Atlantean days, we used to have the sisters do what got my attention to her. She was doing that ritual on the ocean where all of the women were in white and they was going
Mm-hmm.
into the water. That's where the old gospel song Wade in the Water come from.
Okay.
You can
Okay.
look on YouTube under voodoo baptism, and you will still see them doing the same water ritual in the voodoo culture. They do it in New Orleans, they do it in Haiti, they do it in Jamaica. These women get together in all white and they go into the freshwater springs and do rituals to cleanse the land. All of their rituals is geared toward cleansing, healing, and making the planet whole.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the other priests have different functions. Under the red, they doing war conjure work,
Okay.
right? Under the blue, they doing administrative conjure work, right?
Mm-hmm.
The clerical department, right? The black and
Okay.
gold
Okay.
is doing the organizing of the spiritual work at Big Mama House. That's the vice lord team, the team that's supposed to draw all of the rest of the teams back onto Big Mama House. They told us that we was gangs because they don't. Gang mean tribe, but
Right.
as long as we don't know, because they use their media and social influence to make the word gang sound like a bad word. So now you don't know the other tribes on the land because they labeling you as some kind of criminal element that's different from a tribe. But all of the tribes magnetized to their chief. This is just nature. You can't overcome the nature in the DNA of us tribing up. Now they got to figure out a way that when we tribe up to make us look bad for doing it. And they create conditions and they send in infiltrators to make us go the wrong direction on purpose so that they can use their media to smear us in a smear campaign so nobody won't never know that the Nation of Growth and Development, that's a whole tribe out of the Blue House of the old Mississippians. The black and gold is a whole tribe. The Panther is a whole tribe. We looking at it like they calling the Black Panthers a political organization. That's a tribal network. It's not a political organization. But they use the word politics because they do deal with the social environment on the land. Right? The Nation of Islam, they classify them as a religion, but they the research and investigative department of the tribal networks. They are the security training team to train functional security. That's why they focus on what they focus on, and everybody want to argue the doctrine, but they don't want to look at the tribal structure that's being established and how it is being used to link tribes all across the land on the level of respect. The Nation of Islam brothers is the only ones that can call Latin kings, Latin counts, Satin disciples, maniac disciples, gangster disciples, vice lords, crips, bloods. They the only group that can call all of these different tribes into one area and won't be no drama. That's not an accident.
Yeah.
That's not an accident. This, if you look at how the ancestors been having us move over the last 500 years, you will realize that the story that they given us is a patch story trying to cover up certain key functions of the tribal movement across the land. So after they declared the ceasefire and we went into the Conjure War, the Seminoles, they never surrendered, right? So they not constitutionally obligated to follow anything that the United States do. They never agreed to anything by treaty because they had too many chiefs that disagreed with the system. What about all the rest of the non-treaty tribes? They called them outlaws. They called them belligerents. They called them foreign nation dependents. They called us illegal immigrants on our own land because we wasn't part of their system. So what do? Instead of continue to function as we function and disregard them and their system and remember who we are, we wanted their system because it looked prettier because everything was in called uniform commercial code, meaning everybody of government wore uniforms. Well, the tribes wear uniforms, but they wear tribal uniforms. They identify by their appearance in the public by the uniform they wear. It's just not the same as the uniform of the police that worked for the Crown of England. So you got the police got to quit or join. They got to step down as police officers and be deputized by the sheriff or the U.S. Marshal, or they got their ass going to jail in the same lockup where they've been locking people up for all of these years.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to hold you, but one more question is, Okay, I think I will send a message to you through Facebook because I can't put it in words right now. And I know we have a lot of people. We have 64 people from what I see right now.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna give this time to someone else. And I am grateful and thankful for you receiving my call. And it was a pleasure and is a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you, sweetie. I'll talk to you later.
All right, much love.
Okay, who we got next? Keisha Williams. Kesha.
How
I'm
are
doing
you?
good. I like your dreadlocks.
They braids,
I
I've
like braids too.
been trying to appreciate it. Well, what I wanted to ask was, I know patience is required. Patience is required in my own human design, and admittedly, I have been struggling with thoughts of self-deletion, but I understand, for the purpose I am here, that is not an option. So what should I be doing in the meantime until whatever this change looks like will happen?
Your self-care needs to be turned up from 2 to 10.
Okay.
Only worry about making yourself feel normalized in your own skin. Take plenty of spiritual baths to help balance out your inner energy with your physical energy. The candles, the rose petals, the oils, the whole nine with your spiritual baths. You got to get massages. If you got a boyfriend, a husband, he got to give you regular. Okay. Well,
I don't even know about. Anyway, that ain't. That's a whole.
okay.
Anyway.
So at least once every 2 weeks, go to the spa and get you a massage, because the reason why I'm recommending that is negative memories energetically is trapped in the muscle, and it releases at the most inappropriate time. But if you get a regular massage, you be able to unlock that emotion that's trapped in your muscle to release. That's why the state that you go in while getting a massage is a quasi meditative state. That's open exchange with the universe, energy field. You need that frequency. When they release the pent up frustration or emotion and you feel the need to cry, you have to let the tears out. The breakdown in the physical is the sign of the breakthrough on the spiritual. The struggle in the physical world mean that you are in your book of life checking your resistance build up based on the training that you just finished putting yourself through. Your emotions is your navigation system. Always do self-talk and ask yourself, are my emotions in proper context? Is the proper emotion for what I'm seeing? Am I supposed to react this hysterical because somebody bumped the coffee table? That's probably extreme, so let me turn it down. Once you do that, this is called emotional intelligence quotient training, or EQ training. You adjusting your emotions to be truthful and honest with you, and to not give you overly stimulating information that doesn't need to be overly stimulated. That comes from self-neglect as a child because you wanted to please everybody else. Now, as an adult, it's no longer functional for you. So now you have to do the self-care. It's a part of your shadow work too.
Yeah. Damn.
You got to remember, You're supposed to go through the hard part, and the hard part is known in extreme cases by the desire to exit stage left with no return. That's put there as a stressor. You don't want to go toward the stressor. You want to look for the buffer. The buffer is the justification and the cause for you to be able to overcome this life obstacle. Some people look at their child and say, thank God for my child, Cheryl Pepsi Riley. Right? Because that let them know that all the stuff they've been through, now they know all of that in order for their child not to have to endure it by you creating the proper environment for them to avoid repeating the generational mistakes. The more you develop those understandings with life itself, the less you, because I got a philosophy. I'm suicidal to the 9th degree. But it's one problem. Before I kill me, I know too many people that deserve to go. And that means that before I kill me, I got to get rid of all of them first. And that would upset society too much.
Yeah, it would. I know it. I know it. Ooh, I know it.
Right. So as you tune in and you start feeling that energy, your glow gonna turn on. You're not gonna notice it. But the people that you pass in the street gonna notice it because you are polishing the golden heart by coming to these awarenesses of the self and the functions of the struggles of life to allow you to be strong enough to receive the blessings, because they're going to be too heavy to carry if you ain't properly trained. We almost at the payout. We almost at the big aha moment.
I know because patience is a big, huge part of my human design. That is one of the lessons I know for certain that I'm supposed to overcome on this in this
You're
life.
supposed to learn that patience has a limit.
That has a limit.
Patience has a limit. Because
explain that to me.
People exploit your patience. Right? Your patience is for those who respect your time and your energy. Patience is not for the people that came to siphon your life energy from you. If you put the patience where it's deserved, reciprocity and gratitude will open the channels of abundance so much faster in your life. Patience has a limit. Where you go from being the good giver to somebody's damn fool is where it ends.
Factual.
That's the limits of patience. But if I can be patient with you all day, if you gaining, accessing the information correctly, where you can apply it in your life and it'll bring out the best in you, then that's the best I could do. And if a person want me to come in and restructure their life and then they want to sit there and watch Netflix all day, I can't help them. I have no patience for that. But if a person that's sincere come, I can walk them through the very minutest steps of the process in order to put them on the right track. But if somebody come in thinking that they about to misuse me, I'm too busy being used by gratitude for you to misuse me with selfishness and greed. My kindness doesn't extend to that. Now you're about to turn on my hostilities. And I like when they turn on my hostilities.
Do I know it? Look, That's also what I
That's when
struggle with too.
they fuck
I
around
think
and find out.
no, you're definitely right. I think that's definitely my current position, and that's the self-doubt kicking in on when and when not to be patient. I don't want to, yeah, all that self-doubt. Okay, cool. Okay, thank you, Unc. I
I see
appreciate
you
you.
having a couple of aha moments over there. So it's not that you don't know this, but sometimes somebody got to tell you what you know in a certain way to help you see what you already understand. And that frees you up now, because now you can work on application instead of trying to figure out how to read the instructions.
I got that mess. You're right. I got that message this morning. Applying. Yep, she literally told me that. Applying it. I have everything in my toolkit. I just need to
Yeah,
apply it.
but
Okay.
you needed to put in the order and the structure first.
True.
So what
Very true.
in cooking, that's called mise en place. We lay out all of your ingredients before you start cooking, exactly measured to the recipe. That's to help keep order in the kitchen while you're cooking. You see them do it on the cooking channel all the time. They have all the ingredients
I
set
do.
up. Yeah, that's called mise en place.
Yeah, I do it. I just didn't know the name. Interesting.
Yeah. It's from French cooking chefs lingo. They got their own. They got their own language too.
From NOLA. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where you?
Well, thank you, Uncle.
Where you from? Where you from?
Me, Illinois.
Illinois. Oh, okay. Norfolk.
My father from Mississippi. My mama from Illinois.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from them tribes. But you got the facial cranial structure of a Mississippian females.
Mm-hmm. I have the this and the widow's peak, and the I don't know what it's called at the kitchen, but it's so when the geishas, they paint on their. I went to Japan this year, and I met some of my soul tribe, I believe, and when the geishas put on their makeup, they have a pattern they do on their neck, and my kitchen is naturally shaped like that. This matrix in the work world and all that BS been keeping me from investigation.
I need you to do something. Take a deep breath, hold it for a count of 3, and let it out slow. And release. So I noticed something in the conversation. Your energy got erratic. Most men don't notice it. But if you notice it and stop you for a minute to breathe and help everything that you're about to say come out smoother and clearer, and it'll make the communication so much simpler and easier that an argument can't happen. These is the techniques of understanding the communication that's been taken from us. The men is supposed to be taught as boys how to recognize the change in the woman's energy so he can help her to stay balanced. Because if he can't help her stay balanced, how the hell he gonna stay balanced? Okay, you can finish saying what you're saying, sweetie.
Thank you. There is, when the geishas do their makeup in Japan, there is a symbol that appears to me, and my natural kitchen is shaped like that symbol, and I don't know where to begin begin to figure out the meaning of that. But as soon as I saw it, it triggered something in my subconscious. So I must figure out what that means. But overall, I do feel like I have gotten to a new stage in my life that will bring me new lessons, new complex lessons. Like you said, it is me applying what I have in my emotional toolkit to make it through this level.
So by calibrating your emotions, because you can't lie to yourself. You can lie to the whole world, but you can't lie to yourself because you was listening to that conversation in your head when you came up with the lie. Right? So when you calibrate your emotions not to exaggerate, it makes them only spike when necessary. But now that you're aware that your emotions is under control, you can think clearer under the pressure of the heightened emotion. Right. And a lot of times, just stopping for a minute and taking that breath you just took is enough to get you on track where you're ahead of the problem as it's arising. The 3 little seconds, deep breath, that pause before you say something, before you do something. The breath is the spirit, as spiritus. So when you take that breath, you are relying on the universe to fill you with the frequency necessary to overcome whatever potential obstacle is in front of you. And then once you trust the universe by practicing the ritual, the universe will then tell you when to do it before you even know it's necessary. You'll see yourself just do it. And then you'll have a handle on whatever you about to deal with. Whether it's how am I going to cook for all 37 of my cousins that's coming to dinner this week, to, oh shit, that car accident up ahead, can I help? Right. But that breath, you'll be able to have like awareness ahead of time, because spirit is looking for when to let you know you need to breathe before you get there. So that you send spirit out ahead of you to find the path. So once you go down the path, spirit lets you know that you're on the right path, because that's when you take that breath. But you have to calibrate your senses. If you train them, they will perform. And you got it in your blood, so it's going to come natural to you once you start practicing.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetie. I'm going to take somebody else up, okay?
Okay.
Right,
I love you.
too, sweetie.
Bye.
Oh, pretty smile of yours.
I am so honored. Oh my goodness. Thank you for having me. Thank you for taking this call. I only have one question. First of all,
Okay.
thank you for everything you do and all of the things. I am expecting
How far
and
along
will be doing
are you?
January. And I've recently moved out of the country. We are in the Dominican Republic now. And so my question is, if you have any insight on sovereignty paperwork, or
We don't do
if
paperwork, sweetie. You
and that's what I'm
sovereign.
thinking,
Listen,
that being